Converting over the ARRMA Big Rock to a drag rock was way easier than I thought. And for the vehicle to outperform said DR10 box stock is absolutely incredible. So today on RC Guy Garage, we're going to take the drag rock and reconvert it back to an ARRMA Big Rock. Basically putting it right back to stock. 14mm hexes, throw on the long travel suspension arms, more like longer with travel suspension arms, kind of, yeah, they articulate. So anyways, yeah, this is what we've got. This is what's left. We've got the shell, we've got the tires and wheels, and basically these parts right here, or at least some of them, are the parts that were taken out to create this vehicle right here. You already know what we're here for. Let's rip into it. That does not mean that I've given up on the X-Max. All it means is that I've moved on to bigger and better things for the time being. Right now, Traxxas is wanting me to once again dip into my pocket. I made an error in my judgment for buying parts that didn't have an X on them. So if you notice on that part number, that's 7753G. Didn't have an X. On the backside, it says that I need 7750. Does not list an X. So I don't know actually what is going on here. I may have to call Traxxas and go, hey Traxxas, what is going on with your part numbers? Anyways, yeah, I just had to say that. Traxxas is once again trying to dip their hands into my wallet and my bank account. And right now, I'm just not having it. So you're going to get a look, obviously, at drag rock. Very simple and easy conversion to do if you're interested in doing it yourself. What I will say is there will be an RC Guy Garage drag rock challenge. That is not right now just due to the weather conditions that we have currently in New England. Other places of the planet, I'm sure the weather is great, but over here for drag racing, it's absolute garbage. We have gone from nice 60, mid 60 degree weather, sunny, dry days to nothing but rain and 40s. So rain and 40s don't work out for this. Rain and 40s do, however, work out for this truck. So this, believe it or not, this is this vehicle. So when I take this off, I'll show you what I did. Very simple and easy modifications, okay? I've got my Big Rock, ARRMA Big Rock tower jacked all the way up. I put the screws in so that these standoffs have a block, or at least have an area where they stop. And I had to put the zip ties in there just to kind of keep this in place. Initially, I thought it was going to be fine, but what I ended up doing was, out of habit, grabbing it by the front, pulling it up, and when I went to go do that, it would kind of like give it a lift top. So that's it. Raising up your front shock tower. I did have to bore 2 holes into the hood of this body right here, right into the scoop. No big deal. Lined it up, milled it out. Thing was met. This side, this is factory. So these are factory locations. And that's what I'm trying to say. You can get yourself a DR10 body and have at it. Took out the drive shaft. Also took out the front differential. Kept everything, you know, as nice as I could. Taped up things so I didn't lose parts. This is the front differential. I'm going to reinstall the front differential. Nothing's wrong with this. This thing is mint. We'll reinstall the front bumper. I'm just hoping I've got all the screws. There is a possibility I might be missing screws, but I hope not. I did put on the RPM front. So you can see right here. These are the front A-arms from RPM. I do have the RPM rear A-arms. The reason why I went with these is because, well, number one, the RPM, so they're a little bit, like, lighter. They're lighter in weight. No, it doesn't make, like, a massive difference, but it kind of did. A little bit lighter, and also they're a little bit shorter because these are version 2 or something like that. So it brought in each corner 1/4 inch. You may not think it's a big deal, but it did make a difference. In the rear, the intent was to do the same thing. So when I redo this conversion, I am going to switch those arms to the RPM ones that I just got, which I don't know where they are right now. But I know they're here somewhere. These parts right here, these were just leftovers. This was from a $20 eBay buy. Gave me everything that I needed. Gave me bearings, C-hubs, brand new hubs. This thing was returned back to stock. I got rid of the hot racing hubs for the time being. I don't know if I'm going to install these. I might reinstall these. I'm not sure. The only thing that I didn't like was the disassembly. Everything was pretty much seized together. So I think learning my lesson about certain upgrades you do, certain upgrades you don't do. I'll just make sure I put the thread lock on the threads for the kingpins down low instead of putting it on the sleeves, which what happened is the thread lock actually got seized inside of these sleeves, making it not impossible to get out, but it made it fairly difficult to remove. So, and I don't want to go through that again. I will be reinstalling the shims, so I did have to take out the shims. Can't remember what it was. It may have been large shims to the rear because it seems like most of the weight is to the rear of the vehicle, and it may have been these smaller shims to the front. How does a non-purpose built Big Rock defeat a DR10 box stock? Like, I mean, all I did was take parts off of the Big Rock to turn it into a drag rock, and it literally kicked the butt of the DR10 box stock for box stock. So if you're thinking about maybe dabbling in or maybe interested in what drag racing is about, and this thing was only on 2S. If you're interested in what drag racing is about, this might be the solution for you. So, I don't know. Try it. You might like it. I didn't think I was going to like it, but that was stupid because I like real drag racing. So that was really dumb to think that I wouldn't like it. All right, so we'll get this out of here. Pretty confident I've got all the parts. We're going to take off the wheels first, and what I do also have is I'm going to be installing, if I can find them. All right, so these are the rear arms. So eventually, like I said, when I turn this thing back, oh, there they are. They're right here on the desk. So these are the CVDs that I picked up, the slider CVDs, for the Big Rock to basically allow it to be better than what it is out of the box. So I will be installing these arms. That's going to be later when it gets reconverted into a drag car. So returning this back to stock, remove these post screws so I can settle the post back down. And I think I can see a dirt line to where it was original. I think it was somewhere around there. Yeah, it looks like it went all the way. Looks like it went down, but not all the way. That's something I'll have to double check. I can't remember if it was buried all the way down. It might have been buried all the way down. Let's see if that is right there. And yep, looks like it was buried all the way down. All right, so I want to take off, basically I want to access the cover here. So that's going to be putting this thing upside down. Going to remove the skid plate. 2 screws here. This forward screw right here goes into the diff. Same with these 2 back screws here. These go into the diff as well. Although I can take this plate off right now. 2 screws on the forward section here. It's going to allow me to remove this pin brace, get to my pins to remove my arms that are RPM. Move that. Keep those screws together. Pull a little pin. Grab some kind of plier. Pull these pins out. Remove this screw here, which will remove it from the shock. Same thing on the opposite side. Remove this screw, which will get rid of the shock. Now I'm going to take the wheel off. The wheel is a 7mm box. Pull that off. Same thing on the other side. Pull that wheel off. This looks like a mess, but it's really not. So now what I want to do is I want to pull the pin. What the pin is going to do is going to allow me to pull out the, it's going to allow me to take out the, it's going to allow me to remove the arm. So come the back side here. And I forgot. So that is RPM. So that is a Phillips. So RPM uses Phillips hardware. So remove that screw. Take some sort of tool. Punch that through. So I can grab the pin. Now I can remove the arm, put my screw in that retained the pin so that I don't lose it and know where it goes. Same thing on the other side. These are steps that you don't have to go through, but these are the steps that I have to go through. Just be careful. Alright, do the same thing. Put that RPM piece back in place. Put that to the side. I think I'm going to leave the factory stock parts in place because this initially broke on an accident. So maybe leaving these stock parts in place will be an okay thing to do. So what I do want to remove is these are the 12mm hexes. The Big Rock normally comes with a 14. I just put 12 so I could put a drag wheel on it. So these have a little 1.5 set screw. I'm going to pop that off. There's a pin. You want to pull the pin. And this would normally be removed as an assembly. So you would have a piece connected to this, which mine was obviously broken, and I also removed one side. But you would just take this and remove this piece, and then you'd be done with it. Also, this little hole right here, that little hole is for going ahead and tightening your axle into place. So you want to make sure that if you ever get to this point where you're taking something apart, or let's just say you have an axle that flies out, it's because the back screw got ripped out. But that doesn't matter because what we're doing is we're replacing it with this. Now this is going to also connect on to the differential side. So this side right here. So open this up. This is not a left and a right scenario. Just like any axle, these aren't lefts and rights. But you do want to be careful because there might be stuff in here that will fall out. We got plastic and we got metal. So not exactly sure. Oh, the other metal piece was on here. So that retains the pin. And what does this do? So it looks like on the spline side, this little metal piece, I guess, retains the pin. But I'm not sure what these little plastic pieces are here. And I was thinking that there was an extra set screw. So there's a set screw there on that side, which will attach to this spline here. So that will attach to there. All right. So it looks like that will connect into there, which seems to bind for some odd reason. So something is kind of binding. Might have been some kind of junk in there. So let's see what happens if I just tighten this down. So it looks like that locks into place. And The binding is still there. So I'm not sure what that binding's all about. And I have no idea what these pieces are for. Oh, never mind. They go on there, I think. So I think they slide onto that. Not sure why, but it's like literally the only place that they fit on. But it seems like they're just going to pop off anyway, so that kind of seems pointless. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's for. This might not be the video for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and install the other side. Forget this. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and install the other side, see how this works out. I'm going to locate that little slot right there, which has a little indent for a set screw. And seems like that set screw might be a little too deep. That's why it didn't go on initially. So there we go. So that goes on. And lock that down into place. Seems fine. Double check this side. Make sure that this is fine. It's all set. There is an odd little binding. So when I put this side on, there's an odd binding now. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to go with it. So that's that. Because I need to remove this one screw right here. So there's 4 screws that hold on that diff case. That last one goes through the servo section. So I'm going to pop this open. I filled mine with foam, just so that I wouldn't have debris getting in there, and everything would stay clean, and everything did stay clean. Only ran it on the road anyway. I'm going to go ahead and take this diff, stick this diff back in here, stick it in this way. I'm going to re-lube with my special grease. I have now switched over to a purple. It's a silicone extreme. I'm going to put a nice glob right there. Just like that. Good enough. Looks blue on camera, but it's purple. Go ahead and take this housing cover, reinstall it down while not getting any debris inside. And I think we're good. Flip it back over. The shock tower will keep it in place. Reinstall this rear screw. Reinstall these 2 screws. Make sure I give it a little extra tweak. Now I can grab my factory arms, making sure that they're positioned the right way. Shock is going to be sitting in the front, so this arm is going this way. Reinstall that there. Slide the pin back in. Making sure it functions. Functions perfect. Grab the other arm, which should be here somewhere. It's way back there with Vector. Reinstall that pin. Put on my front pin brace, which I think went this way. Reinstall these 2 screws. Grab my bumper. There should be screws. You can actually see that this is broken. So, what I do have, and I don't have it. So that is a bumper support piece that I do not have I do not have this bumper support piece. So that's kind of a bummer, man. Was not expecting that, and I didn't notice it until just now. And I don't have a plastic welder. Think that is definitely something that I'm going to invest in, and that is a plastic welder. Reinstall this screw. Install the forward diff screw. Reinstall this cap screw. Being careful on that one, man. Flip it around. Go ahead and reinstall the shock screws. So I do want to put a washer on the outside of this screw here. So somehow I've misplaced that. It fell on the floor or it's just gone forever. I'm going to check my parts bag to see if one of those washers is in here. And I think here it is. So I guess I did have it. So this little plastic cup thing, I guess this goes on the end here. It's the only place that I can see that it goes. Got the CVD little axle here. Can stick that into there. Slide the pin in so I don't lose that piece. Get my 14 hex. And reinstall. Lining that pin up, making sure that gets seated all the way. Give this a crank. Forgot this little metal retainer thing. That retainer, don't forget that metal retainer, because that thing is obviously a major component. Slide that. Try to get it as even as possible. Get the hex back on. Making sure that's buried. Tighten this screw. Spline that in. Rotate it until it slides in. We'll slide this into place. Oh my god. Because I've got everything adjusted. I'm wondering why. Why does it have so much? Why does it have so much camber? Because I adjusted the rods. Oh, for the love of God! All right, so I got to adjust my suspension. I forgot. Holy smokes, guy! What are you doing here? So the wrench that actually does work, 13/64 wrench. So I'm going to have to readjust all of the suspension. This might not be the video for you if you're just looking to install these CVD sliders. I just got to laugh sometimes, guys. You got to laugh. Totally forgot that I did this. I was wondering why it had so much camber on it. It's like, wow, what am I, an import? I mean, I know it's ARRMA and it's imported, but that's a different kind of import. Get it kind of close. Reinstall that. Reinstall that backside pin. Now what I've got to do is I've got to find the screw, which should be in this bag. So I think it's... I think it might be this one. See, I got one of these little tiny screws here. I don't remember what that went to. So I'm going to try this screw, see if that's the right one. And it looks like that's the right one. I hope. It's threading in. Let's hope it's not too long. And I think it's too long. So that is not the screw you want. Looks like it might be this little tiny one right here. Yep, that's more like it. So that means I lost a screw. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't watch this video for any knowledge. You can watch it for fun. But somehow I lost the screw. Alright, so I just had to walk away for a split second because I started second guessing something. So as I'm looking at how this slider slides in, I'm noticing on the Big Rock, it's literally, seemingly, only stuffed into that spline by a ½ an inch. So what I want to say about that is it's not making, yes, it's a slider. So as the suspension travels upwards, it may slide in like 2 millimeters. But this particular slider is a broad range slider designed for all their current 3S vehicles. So the Big Rock is a little bit wider. So it's going to be sliding that slider out a little bit more. So I did recheck the part number. It is AR310870. That is listed as the optional upgrade part for the Big Rock, for the Vortec, for literally everything. So keep that in mind. You're getting it for the Big Rock, you're not getting as much meat usage. Not getting as much meat. I mean, I started second guessing, man. I'm looking at it, I'm going like, why is it only sticking in like 1/4 of an inch? So it does work. It just, yeah, guy. I don't know. Just wanted to make sure that wasn't having another X-Max debacle. So somehow I have lost the tiny screw that you need. It's a real short guy. Real short screw, but I do have more anyway that I can put in its place, but I just somehow lost it. So this side is pretty much there, except for the fact that I will have to adjust the steering on this side as well. I'm not going to bore you with that, but I got to crank my steering out so that it actually steers, because right now it's basically jacked like that. So just keep that in mind. This is not the video for you. And of course that's going the wrong way. Alright, so go back on this side. I'm going to go ahead and readjust this now. Make sure I put on that little metal sleeve that I guess retains the pins. Slide that in, pull it through, get a 14 hex with a 14 pin. So the pin, you just want to make sure that the pin actually fits inside, because the 12 hexes pin fits inside as well, it just doesn't obviously fit all the way. throw a pin in, center it, put the hex on. Make sure that that's buried on there. Moves free. And it doesn't. It's a little bit of drag. So let's see if I take some of that off. Isn't that funny, huh? There's a little bit of drag on that. Not sure what's going on there, but there was a little bit of drag when I buried that all the way. So I'm just going to go ahead and lock it down, see how it goes. Make sure that that little cap thing is on there. Get this slider into place. Rotate it until it gets to its little keyed section. Right there. Slide that into place. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my screw kit. I got two different sets. I got two different sets of screw kits. I got a black set and I've got a gold set. I'm going to go ahead and go with the black set for now because it's the only set I could find. And it actually looks like this set might not have the screw I need. Yeah, it doesn't. So I'm going to have to go after the gold set. So here's what's crazy. I actually don't have that screw, but guess what? I didn't lose it. It was stuck inside the hub. Sometimes I swear this RC stuff is trying to turn me into a madman. Like literally. A literal madman. Alright. I don't know why I did that. Okay, we're back. Go ahead and start. And I knew I didn't lose the screw. Like, it was like, how did I lose that screw? Like, I really was pretty careful not to lose the screw. I don't know, man. Just the way things are going, Traxxas X Max, all that crap. Yeah, I don't know. So, it looks like we've got the front end pretty much together now. Yeah, that was a big pile of waste of time. So, this is the center drive shaft. This is my bearing that I put on there. That is a plumber's tape that basically just made use. It took up the gap. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. Reason why I had tape on there was because I didn't want to lose any of these pieces here. This piece is like a little extension piece with a little cover there. That's going to install the center drive shaft back into place. So, yeah, it actually goes this way first. I know I did this before. Okay. Oh, okay. So I think what I need to do is slide that bearing off, get that into place, slide that into there, get this bearing to lock in, slide that in, then go like that, and hey, look at that. Amazing, actually got to it. Holy smokes. Alright, you can see my steering is way off still. Got to adjust my steering. Center drive shaft is in. I've got my strap going this way because of the type of batteries that I ran and the fact that I had to, my chassis is cracked. I do have another chassis, but I'm not replacing it right now. Gonna go ahead and swap out the rear wheels here. So these wheels right here, these are Martin Brothers wheels. These things are absolutely insane. This is rocking right now a raw speed slick with a Proline foam. It seemed to work amazing, fits very well. But yeah, if you're looking for a beadlock style wheel, Martin Brothers, and it's BAAD Racing, Bad Racing. It's got a picture of a sheep on it. But these are Martin Brother beadlock wheels. They come with front and rear. What's great about these is the center stars are replaceable, the outside are replaceable, the rings are replaceable. This is a 3-piece, well, technically it's a 4-piece wheel when you think about it, because it has 2 rings, it has a rim, and it also has the center star. So it's like a 4-piece kind of wheel, I guess. And the same thing with these, 4-piece wheel, 2 rings, center star that's replaceable, and then that outer, the actual rim portion. So those things are mint. So we go ahead and pull this 12mm hex off, which, boy, that set screw wasn't even in there. That's nice. I'm going to replace the rear sliders in this as well. So this will be a normal situation where you'll be replacing the rear. I don't know if I've got the room to pop out this, so I can't remember. So I either can flop out the top, which I'm going to go for the top one first. See if that's the right one to go with. And will that pop out all the way? And it will. The only thing is I don't know if you'll be able to get it all the way out. So, check the bearing condition. This is unmaintained. So I never checked. I never had an issue with the rear. So this is an unmaintained rear end with 1,000 miles on it. Should say more than that. With 100,000 miles on it. So I am going to go ahead and clean this stuff. Check this bearing. Feels unbelievably mint and smooth. But because it feels that way, I'm actually going to, I am going to service it while it's out. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that bearing out as well. Use this driver. Pop that bearing. Check the condition of this one. So I'm not sure what I'm seeing right there. You know what that is? I think that's a break. That's a break in the seal. You see that? That is a break in the seal. Those 2 little dots is a break in the seal. This has never been apart. So I'm going to give this a feel. I feel like these are fine. Yeah, this one's mint as well. But yeah, that's a break in the seal. So I'm gonna pop off the other side. So I like to go from the inside out. Seems to pop these seals a little bit better. It looks all right in there. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that seal. Look how nasty that is. Because it felt so good, I'm not even going to clean it. I'm just going to add grease to it. So I'm going to take a little bit of my grease. Make sure you wear gloves when you're doing this. And I'm just going to add grease right to those bearings. I'm not going to clean it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to add lubrication because it already felt mint. Reinstall that seal. And that should do it. So because that seal is compromised, I'm going to have that facing inboard. So that cleaned up that nice. This one felt good as well. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm not going to clean it. I'm just going to pop the seal from the inside very carefully. Pry it out. If it'll let me pry it out. There we go. I'll clean that. And I'm just going to add grease. Just to this one side. It'll eventually travel all the way. That's it. Reinstall the seal. Clean it up. Now the other bearings didn't need to be serviced because those were brand new. But I feel like this is almost a necessary step. Reinstall that bearing. Big bearing goes on the inside. Make sure that seats down flat all the way. This bearing, because the seal is compromised, I'm going to place the compromised side to the inside. Install that. Open up the new slider thing here. Make sure I don't lose any parts, no extra screws. Now I want to access that. So take my screwdriver, jam it into the universal, and give it a turn. It does the same thing. Unscrew that all the way. Pop out the original. Get a brand new one. I'm going to locate that section that had that little screw hole, which is right there. That way I can take a driver and go in this way with it. Install it right onto the spline. Take my driver and bury that screw until it stops, which is right about there. I'll go ahead and I'll put that little plastic cap on now. Take the other half, slide that in. You can see that that sleeve is on there. Find the little keyed section, tip up the hub, slide that all the way in, grab my 14 hex, which is this one, make sure I get the correct pin. Pin in, put the hex on, making sure that's buried. Crank down that set screw, reinstall my top arm, that way it won't flop out. And that's all set. Interesting how on the back side, man, it doesn't capture as well. It relies on the back side, just doesn't seem to capture as well. Oh, you know what? My front cap, yeah. Backside doesn't seem to capture as well. I don't know why. I think just the way the hub kind of encases it, see? See how that front really encases that? Interesting. So I'll go ahead and I'll throw this on for now. Make sure this is all set. I'm actually going to take a big rock wheel, throw it on. Seems a little tight. I want to make sure it's on there, so get this adapter out of here. Now just go on to the other side, do the same exact thing. You can either hang around or take off. So on this side of the big rock, this side I had the reefs. They were called the curl wheels, but I forget what the manufacturer was. It wasn't reefs. Ruthless wheels, that's what it was. So, remove the little set screw here. Don't want to lose these because this will eventually turn back into a drag rock. Or, I'll just buy another big rock. That pin. So we'll check these bearings. Ah, look how chunky and nasty that is. Hopefully these bearings are good, because if they aren't, I don't have any new bearings. With the front bearings are always receiving a different type of load. These bearings are just basically receiving this kind of load. So that's why I want to say that the, I still got my weights on there. See all my weights? Those are all stick-on weights. I forgot about that. That means we're going to have to remove that bumper. Or I just remove the weights. I forgot. Damn, look at all the weights that are on there. Each one is a 1/4 ounce. So, this bearing does feel good as well. I'm going to go ahead and pop out this one. See what this one's like. This one's probably fine too. Seems like my front bearings just got wasted because the additional torque that's called for on the bearings. So, see if this one spins smooth. And oop. I believe it spins fine. Yeah, that's smooth. And this one is also nice and smooth. So again, same thing. Just going to get rid of these paper towels. Set up with a new one. Clean out this hub real quick. Like I always say, paper towels, man. Buy stock in paper towels. They're always going to be your friend. So just like I did before, just pop out that seal on one side. Little tiny dab of grease just on one side. And that's all it needs. A little extra grease. This bearing is going to be very happy. Just getting the excess grease off. Same thing with this side. Just pop one side out. Go from the inside of the race out, I have found works really well. Clean that little seal off a little bit. And I'm just going to repack it. Not even going to clean it. Big rock don't need any extra anything. Grab the seal, make sure it's going the right orientation. Done. 2 more happy bearings. Happy little bearings. Now that seal didn't seem to have any issue. So go ahead and get my little thing here. Put that driver all the way in. Lock it into the U-joint and turn it the right way, guy. You can also grab pliers, but you could just use a screwdriver, jam it right into the universal. Pull this one out. Grab your new slider. Locate the set screw. Locate the section where that little spline is, pointing at it, and you can't see it. I don't think that's helping. But I'm going to rotate it until I find the little hole, which is right there. Go ahead, line that up. Let's crank it down. Make sure that that cap is on the end. Make sure that sleeve is covering the pins. Slide that into place. Clock it into position, which is right there. Get my 14 hex with its associated pin, which is this one right here. Put the pin in, put the hex on, make sure it's buried, tighten the set screw, flop down the link arm, and then reinstall the screw. big rock wheel on. And check it out. Big rock is slowly coming back to life. If I get the right driver. Beautiful. I can pull off my weights, which are stuck on there like glue. Oh my God. Well, that's a negative, man. It's a negative with sometimes stuff you do. Those wheel weights are stuck on there. Like stuck on there. These are real wheel weights, so pry these bad boys off. There we go. Big rock is back. I do have a chrome bumper for the rear too, don't I? So, got the rear of the big rock together. We do have to install the bumper screws, which I think is this screw. Yep. So these two screws, I believe. So I'll go ahead and just, so we'll go like that. Get it started like there. Get another screw. Finish it off with the driver. God. Holy smokes. All right. I think that's it. Give it a little tweak with this just to make sure that's tight. And that one's tight. So now I just have to throw all that to the side. Massively readjust my suspension. Suspension on the front, you can see that is way off. So now I just have to adjust my camber and my toe. Everything's kind of like way off. But that's also the price that you pay when you want to go ahead and change things. So anyways, hopefully you like this episode from RC Guy Garage. This was basically installing the ARRMA part number right here. CVD slider AR310870. CVD slider set, 1 pair. Takes care of either the front or the back. And this was an installation of the CVD with a side of drag rock. So the big rock is back. So anyways, what are you doing today? I know I'm going to try to get outside and rip it.